You have to activate my microphone.
Hello, hi, pal.
Hi. Hi,
Good evening. Good evening, Hannah.
Good evening, hi. It's nice to see you.
Kako si?
Dobro, hvala.
Buongiorno, buonasera, Chiara. Hello.
Buonasera. Hi, hello.
Ciao.
Hi, ciao, ciao, ciao.
Hello.
Hey.
Ina.
Hi, hi, hi.
Keyboard.
Okay, I'm ready. Good. Tina, are you from Slovenia? I think I recognize your face.
Yeah, probably you saw me on the screen while talking to your wife for
Maybe.
2 years now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
For the European Mariupol.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Very good. Small world, as they say.
Yeah.
Very good.
Tibor, hi Tibor. Activate your microphone, Tibor, please. If you want to talk to us.
Okay, now you hear me. Yeah, I'm now on my mobile only, but because I received the invitation only on my mobile, so I have to go over to my computer. I just wanted to let you know that I'm here.
Okay.
Alek, where are you?
Polski jestem, też się widzimy.
Polski jestem.
Very good. Very good. We are in majority Polish people. I like it. Very good. Tina, how is my favorite Janes Noy?
Right now he's in the most corona region. We have a terrible situation at the moment, so I wouldn't know because we don't have as much contact as we would like to. But he's always busy, so I would guess that he's busy.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Yeah. There are quite a few infections in England. I mean, in Europe, situation in the UK is not looking great, to be honest with you. Oh, look at that. Someone from Hrvatska, Croatia. Good. Pal, everything under control? Are you in charge?
So, I hope so. I will try to prepare carefully everything.
No, very good. I have my presentation as well ready. So again, you know, I've made tiny changes, but again, so I just check I can share the screen as well. So when I speak, if it's easier, so.
And thank you in advance for your, how to say it in English, readiness to join us, to build with us. You are
I absolutely love the topic, so I could spend weeks talking about it. So happy to be part of the meeting.
Consider yourself for the whole life honorary members with special rights. I don't know what this special rights is, but of the Sophia network.
I have a problem to get in with my computer.
Could I send you the link via email?
Oh, that would be great, because I tried to, maybe I made a mistake when I copied it. If you could send it over by mail, that would be great.
I will send it right away.
Alek, where are you? Are you in, whereabout in Poland? Warsaw?
Warsaw, yes.
It was Kacper's birthday a couple of days ago.
Yes, I prepared something special for him.
Very good. Look at that.
Special presentation for Kacper.
Very good, very good.
No?
I don't know if Kasia is online, because a beautiful flower, because she can let, oh, hi, Kasia. Because she can allow new members to join to the screen version with face and
Hello, Kasia.
Cześć, cześć.
I haven't seen you in what? 55 years? I'm not that old, but yeah, quite a while, I think.
Meta.
Oh, look at that, Meta.
Hi guys, great to see you. All the very best. I don't know who to greet first, but Hannah, I think it'll have to be you.
It's so nice to see you. Hi.
Same here. Giratina.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao. Mamma mia, Mike, look at you all. All the very best. I'll be quiet.
Meta, are you in Russia at the moment?
Yes,
Okay.
Moscow.
Still enjoying it?
Look at me. Of course I am.
Good.
Yeah, the others are joining us. They're just coming back from work, so hopefully.
I'm just checking. We don't have to ask for any transfer
No.
for you to move somewhere else. No.
No, but you might want to change, no?
Yeah, always. But if you talk to my wife, she might be less enthusiastic about the idea.
Okay,
Yeah, exactly.
I got it.
We are slowly filling up. There is 14 participants and 3 additional attendees. So
But
should
there are
we wait
others
a
who
few
are
more?
following us on another channel.
Plus the YouTube, exactly. So what do you say? Maybe give it a minute more and then we can
1
start?
minute more, but not more than 1 minute. Kacper, now we have 20 participants.
I think I have to say hi to Varaždin because that's home. Hi.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi to Boris and to Moscow especially.
Let's go.
Returning with all of my heart. But I'm not the only one. There is Lisa, then I see there is Elena probably with her sister Yana. Awesome.
Good evening, Kasper.
Elisa from the north of Russia.
We have one raised hand by Yana. Is there a question maybe? Yana, did you raise a hand on purpose or was that just trying? Okay.
No. Okay.
Well, it is 19:05 according to my watch, so welcome everyone. It's nice to see you. So this will be a webinar on the concept of care. Thank you for joining. We hope we have a lot of interesting speakers for you from all parts of Europe currently, Italy, Slovenia, UK, and what am I missing? Hungary, yes, of course, Tibor. And so we have Chiara. you can interrupt me if I'm mispronouncing your names, but we have Chiara Galbersanini,
Right.
who is perfect, who is a postdoctoral researcher at the Sofia University Institute in Italy. Then we have Michael Siewniak, a community development manager currently living in UK. Tina Schleipach from Ljubljana in Slovenia. She is a teacher and she's a secondary teacher of geography. And Tig Berhey from Hungary, who is a management consultant. Did I manage that with the names? Perfect. So each of them will be speaking for about 10 minutes. We will try to stick to the schedule, but we'll see how it goes. And we will start with Chiara. If you can try to share your screen, Chiara.
Yes.
I am sorry for not presenting myself first. I am just shortly before we start. My name is Hana. I am originally from Croatia. Currently, I'm a PhD student at the University of Borås in Sweden. I'm a student in library and information science, and I will be your moderator for today. So Chiara, when you're ready, take it away.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Okay, perfect. Yes, thank you, Anna. I'm Chiara Galbersanini from Milano, Italy. I'm a researcher at the Sofia University Institute, and my field of studies is public law at a national level. That means constitutions, constitutional law, European Union law, and international law. So what I will try to do this evening is to give you some suggestions, some ideas to open the discussion about the concept of care, dare to care, translated into our legal system, and how, as citizens, we can live the concept of care from a political and juridical point of view. So, first of all, just some words on the concept of care translated into the Italian Constitution. I can share my screen with you. 1 second. Okay. Okay. So here we start from the national level and the Italian juridical system, legal system, to understand if and how this concept of care can translate it into law. And in particular is Article 2 of the Italian Constitution. Can you see it on the screen? Okay. That is important for our discussion because it says, we can read it together. The Italian Republic recognizes and guarantees the inviolable rights of the person, both as an individual and in the social groups where human personality is expressed. The Republic expects that the fundamental duties of political, economic, and social solidarity be fulfilled. So in this article, we can see immediately that the concept of care, care for, is translated in recognizing and guarantees the inviolable rights of the person. So here is the Italian Republic, which is the subject that has the duty to recognize and guarantees the inviolable rights of the person, both as an individual, but also in social groups where human personality is expressed. We can say that this is a translation of the concept of care in a vertical way, from the state to citizens. It's the state that has to recognize and guarantee the inviolable rights of the person. The second part of this article says the Republic expects that the fundamental duties of political, economic, and social solidarity be fulfilled. So, in this case, we are talking about horizontal solidarity, so solidarity among citizens. And in this way, the concept of care for, can be translated into constitutional law, Italian constitutional law, as solidarity among citizens within the state. So, of course, the concept of care translated as the principle of solidarity is not only part of the Italian constitution, is part of almost all the juridical, the legal systems of Europe, and it is also part of the European Union legal system, as well as is part of the international law. So just to share again the screen with you. Okay, this is, as you see, the European Union level legal system. The Treaty of Lisbon says that the EU shall promote economic, social, and territorial cohesion and solidarity among member states. So again, the concept of solidarity that is expressed. And again, these values are common to the member states in a society in which pluralism, non-discrimination, tolerance, justice, and solidarity and equality between women and men prevail. And also at the international public law level, the UN define the principle of solidarity as the expression of a spirit of unity among individuals, peoples, states, and international organizations to achieve common goals. So here you see that the principle of solidarity enters into our legal systems. Just some words on political solidarity in particular, and the idea of nation states, and then some consideration and questions for you, for all that are following this great opportunity of discussion. Political solidarity in particular, so the concept of care translated as political solidarity, can be defined as a unity of individuals who have made a conscious commitment to challenge a situation of injustice, oppression, tyranny, or social vulnerability. This type of political solidarity is horizontal, as we had said before, among citizens, and during time, it has contributed to build also the concept of nation states, because within the community of the nation, political solidarity helped to build a feeling of fraternity, the principle of fraternity raised from the French Revolution, that has been translated, for instance, in the Catholic religion as brotherhood, but also in other religions as brotherhood, on the basis of common shared values, on common culture, common language. So we can say that this political solidarity helped to build nation states, and it is linked in a way within the community of the state to the principle of fraternity. Okay. So, and in the name, we can say that in the name of this horizontal and political solidarity, citizens can care for other citizens, for their needs, in the name of a common belonging to the same state, to the same nation, to the same roots. A first consideration coming from here for us this evening could be the following. Today, should we ask ourselves whether this political solidarity among citizens, connected also to the principle of fraternity, to the concept of brotherhood, should remain a principle that creates unity within the nation, or can we consider that the principle of solidarity could go beyond the limits of the nation and the limits of citizenship? And if yes, in which direction? Can the state, for instance, take care for the well-being of non-citizens in the name of the principle of solidarity, or is there a priority for citizens in applying the principle of solidarity? And between different generations, can we care for future generations concerning, for instance, climate change and protection of environment, applying the principle of solidarity within democracies? Of course, if we answer yes, in this case, we overpass the limits of space and time, and we go beyond the dimension of the state. So I think that the concept of care translated into our legal systems means also recognizing the existence of the other, the concept of the other, that can have different names and different meanings. Depending on the name that we give to the other, citizens, non-citizens, migrant, also nature, environment, we can decide how to orient our actions and also how to contribute to define specific policies. I'm thinking about, for instance, the rights to vote, the right to citizenship, the right to have an equal access to health care, and all the social rights. So there is this double dimension of the concept of care translated into law as principle of solidarity, a national dimension, but also a dimension that overpasses the limits of the nation. And I think that as citizens that live their community in everyday life, we are called to express our idea, and we are called to live in our life the principle of solidarity in one direction or another. Thank you.
Thank you, Chiara, for a great presentation. I just want to ask you, will you be staying for the discussion, or do you want to take a few short questions, if we have some? Can you just unmute?
Sorry, I can stay for the discussion.
Very good, thank you. So then we will continue trying to go deeper with the concept of care. And our next speaker is Michael. Michael, can you try to share your slideshow?
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Hey, Michael,
thank you,
welcome.
Hanna, thank you for a lovely introduction. My name is Michał Siewniak. I'm originally from Poland, and for the last 15 years I've been living in the UK. Delighted to be invited. Thank you, Pal. Worried a little bit about Kacper. There is a bike above his head, and I'm thinking that he might fall on his head. Are you safe, Kacper? Are you okay?
Yes, thank you for taking care.
Good, exactly. Putting the care at the center of our social interactions. Right, so I have prepared a presentation. Hopefully it will take less than 10 minutes. Please, Hanna, stop me if I speak for longer than 10 minutes. One or two of you have seen something similar, so apologies for a repetition if you like. So let's go. I just need to share the screen. Okay. And you probably can see it. Slideshow from the beginning. Okay, can you see it? Okay, great, fantastic. So, as I said, my name is Michał Siewniak. I am currently a community development manager for a project funded by one of the biggest grant givers in Britain. I'm also quite involved in different in politics, generally speaking. I'm also a former councillor, so I was elected as a councillor in the board of Welland Hatfield, which is in Hertfordshire, just outside of London. As I said to you, I come originally from Poland. I lived in Poland for more or less 20 years. Then I moved to Croatia, where I did my master's. I'm kind of specialized in the history of ex-Yugoslavia. I lived in Croatia for 4 years. Absolutely loved it. Beautiful, beautiful place, beautiful country, and very close to my heart. And after 4 years in Croatia, you know, I met my wife in Croatia as well, and we kind of moved to Lopiano, a beautiful town in Tuscany, where we had the chance to work and study and learn a little bit as well for a year. And now for our sins, we've been living in Britain for the last 15 years. So we planned only to come for a few months, and now a few months, almost 15 years. So I will tell you a little bit more about my journey in this kind of fantastic and kind of you know, field of care, if you like, and it's going to be based on my personal journey of an immigrant, if you like, or migrant from Eastern Europe, and then I will tell you a little bit more about different things, different projects and activities I've been involved in or supporting or leading as either counselor or, as I said, a community worker, if you like. And I thank Chiara as well for kind of, you know, giving us some sort of, you know, legal and political context of care, which again, you know, is central to what we are talking about tonight. Again, very quickly, as you can imagine, we all are on a journey. My journey, as I said, started in Poland, and then I moved, you know, to quite a few places. Again, each journey, we all have some sort of expectations. We're making a lot of assumptions. This journey of an immigrant from Poland to Croatia, from Croatia to Italy, from Italy to England had, you know, ups and downs. It was exciting, you know, in many ways, but also this journey has been quite lonely and quite challenging and quite demanding spiritually and intellectually as well. We've landed in Hertfordshire, literally. It's a beautiful county, 1.1 million people living in the county of Hertfordshire, 10 districts. And again, Hertfordshire, you know, has changed quite a lot, particularly since 2004, when 10 countries, including Poland, joined the EU. And the migration to Hertfordshire has been quite, you know, visible, if you like. Britain, again, you probably would know, is one of the most diverse countries in Europe. And I have to say, my personal experience, I fell in love with multiculturalism and the fact that I have an opportunity on a daily basis to embrace diversity and champion equality. Straight away, I have to say I can describe myself easily as a community activist. So I kind of felt straight away that when we arrived, you know, to Hertfordshire, our town called Welland Garden City, the center of the Focolare movement in the UK, there wasn't a network for Polish people, and again there was you know, quite a significant number of Polish people arriving to Welland Hatfield. At the moment there are more or less 2,000 Polish people living in Welland Hatfield. I kind of, you know, I tried to help and support and set up Welland Hatfield Polish Community Forum, a really fantastic project which enabled us to raise the awareness of the Polish community who moved to this area, build bridges with other agencies and partners, but also to put care at the center of our social actions. We've run a number of events, you know, Hatfield Polish Day attended by 1,500 people. We've run English classes to help those whose English wasn't maybe that good. I passionately love sports, so I felt that sport is a very good tool to promote integration and community cohesion. And we've run a number of other functions, so, you know, quizzes and things like that. So this is an example of, you know, from this big event which took place in Hatfield Town Centre. Look at me, I was very skinny, still very baldy, and it was a really big success. We've managed to get £6,000, you know, to organize this event. And top right corner, Polish, you know, Roma community as well took part in the event, which was really very well received. For the first time in the history of Welland Hatfield, this event was covered in a local newspaper in Polish language. So both pages, one dedicated in English and then the other one in Polish as well. Really great success. What I've realized very quickly, as you can imagine, that none of it would have happened without some sort of, productive and fruitful and effective collaboration. So it's always good to work in a team. It's always good to share responsibilities, delegate tasks, come up with ideas, access funding, but also, create and build long-lasting and sustainable relationships with local agencies, local government, for example, police, and many others. I absolutely love politics, and by more important, I just love being part of the civic process. And there is definitely an issue, that's probably a discussion for another day. There is an issue with the connection, political connection of EU nationals with the UK political system or democratic system. And in the last 10 15 years, I've helped organize at least 10 trips to the House of Parliament, and each one of them was really mind-blowing. It's a beautiful building, absolutely phenomenal, full of history. And again, this was always an opportunity to put democracy at the center of our actions, if you like, and make it more real, if you like. I've also organized meetings with local MPs, members of parliament, but I also, for example, helped organize, you can see again this picture of the Polish flag, elections, Polish elections. So Polish nationals living in the UK have a chance to vote in in national and presidential and national elections as well. So this was a massive success. Some of you might remember the Polish president and other 100 high-profile politicians died in a plane crash as well. I felt again that this was an opportunity, even though it was a tragic incident, to use this as a way to really build bridges between the Polish community and local residents. This particular example of this kind of election campaign and the fact that Polish people had a chance to vote was again highly not promoted, but also covered, if you like, in different, studies, global studies. One of them, Cities of Migration, a fantastic organization based in Canada. Again, as I said, just to really mention, I really love sport as well, and I really always felt that sport is a great way to bring people together. I've organized a number of different events, to kind of to promote sport and bring different people together as well. Absolutely amazing stuff. I'm not an artist by profession, but this was something really absolutely amazing. 2 art exhibitions, one of them called Celebrating Art of the Polish Community. This lady at the top right-hand corner is High Sheriff Hertfordshire, so she is officially representing the Queen in our county. So she opened this event, which was hosted by local museum and attended. The first kind of opening event was attended by more or less 300 people. Beautiful event. And then quite a few things, are now happening with around the Polish Saturday School. Again, as you can imagine, there are quite a few Polish people living, in the UK. In our case, in this particular school, there are more or less 120 children supported by volunteers, teachers, and again, we run a number of different activities for children. We teach every Saturday, and again, it is big commitment, but again, a commitment which really produces tangible outcomes. A couple of last slides. I always felt, as I said, kind of love for civic activism. I decided eventually to stand in local elections. I stood 3 times. I wanted to do it for a number of reasons. I wanted to change perceptions. I wanted to show that we can do it. I wanted to show that not every Polish person is a plumber or electrician, that we all bring different skills. And this is why Britain, I think, is great and again, fantastic, because again, it really embraces people from different countries who bring different skills to Britain. So in a way, I wanted to challenge some of the perceptions, particularly around Eastern European migrants, and it was a really fantastic experience. Just a few examples, again, always putting care, at the center of my kind of social actions, trying to kind of influence stuff. There's a lot of, as you can imagine, conversations, particularly around Brexit at the moment. I also helped organize a trip to Poland. So we've twinned a place in Poland with one in Hatfield, quite a few community-based activities as well for local residents. And I also had the chance to visit a Polish university and gave a talk on the kind of civic engagement of EU nationals in the UK. Again, I've already said it. I just want to emphasize this because I think this is critical to everything and anything we do. Again, it's all about successful and kind of productive collaboration between different agencies. None of it would have happened without involvement of other partners and organizations. I've also started in the last probably 4 or 5 months. I'm trying to stop a movement for politics and unity in the UK. Finally, we have a meeting in an hour as well, our 3rd meeting, this year. And I also sit on the international. There is an international center for movement and politics, which again is something absolutely amazing. So I'm kind of, I'm there as well. So it's a kind of a global project which I'm part of. So again, as you know, for those who know Chiara, again, she always felt love for politics. She said many times that it's the love of all loves. And again, it's super important for each one of us in different vocations, to really embrace this opportunity which politics provide us to make a difference and to make a tangible difference and to change our communities for better. The last thing I wanted to say, I just want to finish with this slide, which I often use, which I think really, really would resonate with each one of you, and I'll read it out if you don't mind. People often say with pride, I'm not interested in politics. They might as well say, I'm not interested in my standards of living, my health, my job, my rights, my freedoms, my future, or any future. If we mean to keep any control over our world and lives, we must be interested in politics. And I think, Dare to Care campaign and Care in politics, has been central to all of it, particularly now when we're all globally facing absolutely huge challenges. And I can already tell you, as someone who has been working in the NGO sector for the last 12 years, I've not seen such a huge emphasis on productive and kind of, fruitful collaboration between agencies. So I really hope that this will really bring a change in today's politics and the way it is perceived. That's it.
Make a difference.
Dziękuję. Thank you, Michał. Am I any better this time?
That's the correct pronunciation, Hannah. Well done.
Perfect. Thank you.
Beer on me when I visit Varaždin one day.
Okay. Thank you very much. So I think we've heard a little bit about care in law and in legal systems, and now a little bit about personal care in personal lives and activism. So maybe we could go on to Tina. Tina, do we have you here?
Yes.
Is your presentation ready?
Yeah, it's not going to be anything special, but I'll show you what I have. Yes. Hello to everybody. I can see that each of us has its own presentation, so it's going to be a jigsaw of very interesting aspects of how to dare and how to care and how dare to care. I was asked to tell you more about my personal experience of how I live this slogan, or how I try to work in that way in my field. As it was said, I'm a teacher. I teach geography in high school for 10 years now. Maybe for the beginning, I need to say that it's a Salesian school founded by Don Bosco. So it's a Catholic school. Why am I saying that? That means that building relationships is highly encouraged by my supervisors. Being with the youth and this care is actually very important for me and for the environment where I work. But however, implementing this into everyday life, it still needs to be a personal decision, this personal everyday struggle in every concrete situation. For me, the basis, dare to care for me means that I put myself 100% in every situation, that I add heart, passion in every aspect of my work, and most importantly, to give respect to the youth, students, really in every situation. I just wanted to put some like an illustration. I brought up some photos. They're actually, wait a second. I gave, you can see it probably, yeah. I brought some photos that I gave to my students a couple of years ago. They were it's them on the photos. So these are my ex-students. and I put some quotes on them and I gave it to them just before the start of the school year. So I said, okay, maybe this can be an illustration for my speech today. I would like to give you a couple of examples of what this dare to care means for me in everyday life. First of all, since I'm a teacher, I think my responsibility is really to be the source of good, up-to-date and relevant information. I teach geography. That means that things are changing every day. And that means enormous work for me. Once an ex-student of mine, now she's a friend of mine, said how they used to check my Outlook every time I entered the classroom. If I wore glasses instead of contact lenses, it meant I didn't get enough sleep during the night because I worked for them. I'm not proud of that lack of sleep, but I think it's my duty really to give my best in passing this information, and more importantly, to encourage them to be curious. That's why I chose this slide, to be curious about the world around them, trying to use their talents. And it really means a lot when they, I don't know, send me postcards from some interesting geographical places. And I'm proud of that I'm passing on this affection for the creation, for the environment that we live in. Or maybe they come to me and they're saying how they were discussing the themes that we were talking in school, how they were discussing it at home with their parents and grandparents. And it means really a lot for me. To be a teacher also means for me to really to be a teacher and not their friend in a way, even if this would be sometimes easier. I choose this slide. I have to do the right thing sometimes, and we are educators. My duty is also to point out students' misbehavior and wrongdoing, but never really, I'm trying not to lose this relationship. I'm trying not to break it while doing so. One time I had an argument with one of them. He got some small punishment, something. But I really tried to be respectful, but very clear what he was doing wrong. It was during winter time, and it was snowing heavily. When I was leaving the school building, I saw my car, and it was already cleaned of snow. The very student who I had the situation with in the morning, he was shoveling snow, and he cleaned my car. Again, it was an answer to me. When respectful, even punishing do not break the relationship. So it was very, very important for me to got this answer as well. To care for me also means to be to try to enter in the personalities of my students, to do some crazy stuff, even if I see them as childish sometimes. Even if I had to, like those two, had to turn my head sometimes for 300 degrees, do stupid things just to enter their world. And as a result, later I know that they start asking me about my world. And I saw how important it is. And I think also that's very, goes very well with this slogan, this dare to care, that I have to be 100% authentic and honest and be myself when answering towards their questions about the things that mean the most to me. For instance, they're teenagers, very idealistic and motivated at that age. And when we are talking about changing the world and how to change the world, I started to open freely about the projects that mean the most to me. While I was still doing some working camps with the youth in the Focolare movement, I started to share this experience with them. Slowly, I invited them to come to these summer jobs, and this is the photo from one of them. At one moment, these are all my students, and they said, "Come, let's make a photo just of us, the students, your students." And I'm very happy that now a lot of them, at the beginning it was really weird, one day you were in the classroom having this teacher student role, and on the other day you were, I don't know, painting the walls together, being in the dust together, when the roles were different. And at the beginning it was a bit weird, maybe even more for them. but for me, it was very beautiful to see how I can pass on this my passion for the world and for doing to be the visible change in the world. And now I'm very proud that a lot of them are actually now they're the leaders of those projects, the very projects that I brought them into. One of the most touching moments for me was, and I'll end up with this slogan, was when one of the students was a speaker at the prom, the end of the high school year. So we have this prom thing, as you too probably as well. And he was very grateful and he thanked us all. I was his home teacher, and in his speech he said, "Leave the lights on so we can find our way home." That was very important for me to see how they were deeply touched by this care that me and my colleagues are trying to put in our everyday work. This is one part of our school, and it went very well with the quote that he gave a couple of years ago. So yeah, that's it. To be passionate and to put heart in my work. That's my try how to live this slogan. Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. That was lovely. And I have to thank you all that you have stuck to your times. That's another way to show care. So if I can just prompt everybody, because we currently have 31 participants just in the panelists among us in Zoom. If we could show that care back by preparing some questions for the discussion later, that would be really lovely. We have one more speaker today, and that's Tibor. Hi, Tibor.
Hi.
And Tibor will tell us a little bit about care in management, right?
Yes, that's right. And I suppose it's a tough world. And therefore, even I try to share my slides, but sorry, I don't find them. No, what happened? Uh-oh. I wanted to share, but I couldn't.
Can you tell me what the problem is? We can try to, I can share slides for you if it's necessary, but maybe we can try first to see what's the issue.
Yeah, I went on share screen and then suddenly I see screens and not my desk.
Is your PowerPoint presentation open?
No, it's on my desktop.
So you should first open your PowerPoint presentation and then go to share screen and click on the screen which contains.
Yeah, and how can I get out of this trap now?
Just close it. Just normal exit.
Okay.
Yeah, and try again.
So let's start it again. Okay. Sorry for that.
No worries. Luckily, we have some time now because everybody has been so caring.
Okay, so I try to put this as a provocative question because usually caring and management are not the two words which come to somebody's mind. And to give you a little bit of background of myself, I would.
Can I just stop you? Have you tried to share the slides already?
Oh, I thought I did it, but then.
You just open it and then try clicking on share screen again and picking the screen that contains the slides.
Yeah, no, I lost. Yeah, you are here. I have now the.
We still don't see them.
Okay, just a moment. And because I have actually 3 screens, and now here I can hopefully, but again, I ended up with the same, although it's open now.
Have you clicked share after you chose the right screen?
Yes, I did it.
So if you want, it's just so as to make it quicker. I can try to
maybe
share it.
better that because something wrong with my system now.
Let's try it that way. Just tell me if you see the right screen right now.
Yeah,
Can you
I see.
the presentations. Do you see the right screen now? Or
Yes.
do you see that here? That should do it. So please just tell me when you want me to change.
Yeah. So as I told you, I come from the business world, and caring is usually not a core topic of such management circles. In my case, it's special. If we go to the next page, I try to summarize my background and my life. And you can see that I work very actively in the business world, but I'm also involved in non-profit activities. My link to Sofia is that I made my PhD recently at Sofia University, but originally I am an electrical engineer. And as you can see, I also have a family, by now even grandchildren. My background is, and my daily activities to be a kind of a bridge between worlds, between the for-profit and the non-profit, between the secular and the non-secular, between Hungary and foreign companies and cultures. But first of all, I consider myself as a Christian businessman. And therefore, being a Christian, and if we go to the next slide, as a Christian, I would try to figure out what to do as a manager. And therefore, I have to start with the Catholic social teaching. The Catholic social teaching covers a lot of fields. And usually people think it's more about theology and about other such issues. But if we consider the principles, and basically if we try to summarize them, we can speak about 4: human dignity, common good, subsidiarity, solidarity. In the earlier presentations, we could see some of them already. And of course, you can have different lists from different sources. But when I made the research about the Catholic social teaching principles, I figured out that whether it's 2 or 4 or 7 or 9 or 11 even, the first one is always human dignity. And that's why I thought as a manager, if this principle is the basics of the Catholic social teaching, let's consider how human dignity can be implemented into a management science and to the management practice. Because if you look at, for example, these 4 principles, in my view, the common good is a result of accepting human dignity. Because if you accept human dignity, you want to dignify all your neighbors, everybody else as well, the members of the society, or in your case, Tina, the students, or in Michael's case, Michal's case, sorry, the community. So it's a result and a consequence of living according to the principle of human dignity. And the same with subsidiarity. You consider the individuals not just as individuals, but as powerful persons who take care about themselves. And in some cases, there is a need of some support coming from the top, but in the rest of the cases, they have their own responsibility. They have their own rights to decide, and that's again based on the principle of human dignity. And solidarity, for sure, it's a way, it's an approach, it's the basics of our Catholic approach, and the basis for it is again that we are all the children of God and the brothers and sisters of Jesus. Therefore, human dignity as being a human being has a result to feel and to act with solidarity as well. Now the question is, if everything is so simple and we can go back to the roots of human dignity, how can we link human dignity to the business world, to the management methods. Next slide, please. So human dignity, everybody has an idea about it, and I was eager to hear from the first presentation what the law says, and I know that even the European Constitution in its first paragraph speaks about human dignity, and I also know that there is nothing else about it later on. So it's a part of our culture, but if you ask people what does it mean, it's something old, traditional, nice, to be replaced by human rights, which is fancy and much nicer these days. And this formulation I would like to share with you was very important for me because it was formulated by the Pontifical Council for Justice and Peace for business leaders specifically. And it says that, and it's very important to say it to us, to managers, that it's a tradition in the church. It was always the same, that we have this approach of human dignity, and each person is an end in him or herself, and never merely an instrument valued only for its utility. A who, not a what. And here I would bring in the term human resource management. Yeah, if you speak about human resource management, you consider humans as resources, the same kind of resources than technology, than machines, than financial assets. And instead, we have to look at the people as who, not a what, a somewhat, not a something. And it's a God-given dignity. It's not something you can buy or you achieve or you get, or you can give away, or you can sell, or you can buy. And again, if we consider this as a basis for leading people, for managing organizations, not just companies, but even a school or a legal system or a political system or a country, if you take it seriously to base your approach on human dignity and to think about the people not just as individuals but as persons, that puts you into a channel what you can do, what you should do, and how you should behave. Next one. And therefore, the terms of our daily life and from our personal life, like personalism, friendship, happiness, common good, human flourishing, which kind of words you can read in the Catholic social teaching, have to find a link to my field, to leadership and to management. And here are some quotes from people who, by the way, are all very close to our way of thinking. Acevedo says that specific corporate philosophy, communal symbols, moral leadership, forms of informal communication, and so on, could and should be based on personalism. Personalism meaning that people have an individualistic trait, and they are at the same time as being dignified, having the human dignity. They are more than just an individual, they are persons. And here again, the principles of the Catholic social teaching show up in the next one by Maritain, who is a French philosopher. Most of you would know him, that the principle of subsidiarity derived from personalism contributes to a freer flow of information, for example, through an organization. So it's not like I'm the boss, so I don't share any information, and that's what makes me important, and that's why I am the big boss. It reduces the likelihood of abuse. It encourages creativity. Creativity is the driving force to do business, to flourish, to make a company profitable. Participation and responsibility, which is usually used in the political arena, but it should be used in management as well. And the democratic features of the human society. And human society, we can think about it in total, but also as a small company with maybe 5 people. Justice and friendship in the next one, still linked to maritime, instead of self-interest. That means we have values. We think in the big picture about the community, about the interest of others, about the interest of justice and friendship, instead of just looking at our own interest. And there is a definition of the company, of a firm, that the sole and ultimate justification of a firm is its ability to promote integral human flourishing through organized work. And exactly this wording, integral human flourishing, is the term which appears in the Catholic social teaching, in the encyclical letters of the popes. And we can see the move and the merge of philosophy, of theology, and of leadership, if it's based on the same values. And it doesn't mean we are just nice and we don't work, because the next one says that efficiency and solidarity, economy and sociality no more appear as antithetical. And it's this quote comes from Archiolas from Sofia University, who by now is not just a lecturer but also a priest. So this merge of the Catholic social teaching, of the philosophy, of anthropology, and of leadership, of management science can be integrated, and it results in a world which is based achieving a common good benefit, which is closely linked to happiness, again in the society in a broad sense, and also within the framework of a company. Okay, next one. Now we come to our core topic of care, which is linked to love. These are a few years ago, it wouldn't be accepted by any scientific, let's say, conference in management to speak and to use even such words like love and care. By now, it's part of the vocabulary. Of course, it's mostly led by those who have such kind of origins, like Chris Lowney, who used to be, or he wanted to become a Jesuit monk, and he was with the Jesuits for 7 years. Then he started a secular career, and he became the vice president of one of the biggest investment banks of the world, JP Morgan. And then after 15 years, he left this company and wrote 2 books. One of them is called Heroic Leadership. And here he speaks about how he implemented what he learned with the Jesuits in his career and at his organization. And he speaks about very openly and very directly about love-driven leadership. And he says that love-driven leadership is the vision to see each person's talent, potential, and dignity. Again, the word dignity shows up. The courage, passion, and commitment to unlock that potential, which is also aligned with the slogan of Sofia University, and the resulting loyalty and mutual support to energize and unite teams. So today, such a very, very famous business leader can openly speak and write books about how leadership can not only mean that we use human resources to achieve higher profits, but leadership based on love. And if it's based on love, then care shows up. Here, this is a kind of a pyramid about the human quality treatment. On the lower side, you can see those which are basically negative ones. So to avoid maltreatment, to not to be disrespectful and treat people disrespectfully. On the middle, justice shows up, to have respect to us person and their rights. which is already linked to accepting them as persons with human dignity. And on level 4, care shows up, which means in this case, concern for people's legitimate interests and support for them in resolving their problems. And on top of that is development, the human flourishing and willingness for favoring people's human flourishing, mutual esteem, and friendship-based reciprocity. So these kinds of words, love, care, human flourishing, not self-interest, but common good, can create a system which is not the mainstream, unfortunately, but it's a system which is consistent, which can be read and which can be practiced as well based on that approaches. Next slide. And to show you that it's not just this kind of approach, and spirituality is not just our part of our vocabulary and our approach. Here I show you a homepage of a university, and there are several universities who have the same ones, who speak about wellness and the different dimensions of wellnesses, because caring at work means that you provide this kind of opportunities, this kind of rights, this kind of development, this kind of care. And you can see that they consider the portfolio of wellness having nine dimensions. And in the middle, at least in this case, in the middle, you can see the spiritual dimension. So caring does not only mean I pay a salary to my workers, or I make sure that physically they are safe, or they can educate themselves and they learn, and they have an intellectual development or a social one, and there is a team building, or there is some kind of emotional caring, or a cultural approach, and also to take care about the environment. But there is also the right and the need to have a spiritual dimension of this wellness. And if somebody as a business leader would like to really care about his or her employees and about the company from this point of view, it means he or she should take care about all the 9 dimensions, because together these 9 mean caring, at least in our world, let's say, and caring as a result of love, and love based on the human dignity of the Catholic social teaching. Thank you very much. Especially thank you, Hannah, for your support.
Thank you. Let me just see, can you still see my screen, or did I successfully stop sharing it? I did, okay, that's good. So thank you to all of our speakers for taking the time to think of something to say and to ponder on the concept of care and sharing their experiences with it. And also thank you to everybody who has come to listen, because we know that you spend a lot of time in Zoom these days, and we appreciate you coming. And now the floor is yours. We have time for discussion. I am informed that Michael might be leaving soon, so if anybody has any questions for him, please just unmute yourself and feel free to ask them. Otherwise, I'll be monitoring the raised hands, and feel free to use any medium that you want. So comments or raised hands, everything works. Do we have any questions for our panelists?
Yes, I would like to put a question to Tibor. You were awarded from the British Council of Commerce, if I am right. Can you explain what this award is?
Yeah, the British Chamber of Commerce in Hungary organized an award, the St. George Award, for those businessmen, business leaders who feel and act responsibly towards the society as well. I was not member of the British Chamber of Commerce when I got this award, and I'm still not a member of them. And it was very, very strange for me. And I asked them, why did you provide or chose me? And in this speech they gave on this event or this evening was that they checked my background, they checked the companies I own and I run and I have. And besides my consulting company, which you could see at the beginning of my presentation, you could, if you had time, you could also see that I set up a non-profit company for handicapped people 20 years ago, and still it exists with 120 employees. And the reason they chose me was that in the period of 2009, after in the depression period, when they checked my for-profit company's data and realized that I faced very big difficulties and big problems, they also checked my company and my non-profit activities, and they saw that I still did the same and worked and was very active in the non-profit world. So the choice, the filter for the choice was not being overall very successful, but being consistently consistently responsible for my non-profit activities, even in difficult times.
That is impressive. It's good to know that care also pays in a way, that it's recognized, I want to say. Michal, I was wondering before, well, I still have the chance to ask you, do you have any anything to say for the rest of us who may not be as experienced in social activism on how to integrate care in our everyday lives?
I think it can be done in a lot of different ways. So I've kind of I can give you quite a lot of examples in which this could be delivered, if you like. We are not all born to be politicians, as I said many times. We are not all born to be activists. We can make a difference in a number of different ways. So a couple of months ago, I was invited to speak about my experience of being a councillor, so local elected politician. And yeah, I mean, not everyone feels confident, for example, to stand local elections, particularly if you're a migrant. I think it is quite an intimidating experience, and it was quite challenging for me in many ways as well. But our ability to make a difference, again, can be translated in a number of different ways. If you feel passionate about this particular subject, in Britain, for example, but in many other countries across Europe, you can join a project. You can volunteer for a particular, initiative. I often write to my local newspaper if I feel strongly about a particular topic as well. So there are different ways, in which this can be done. I also feel it is really important for us, and it's our responsibility to, and I think Tina said quite a few things which I haven't mentioned in my presentation, building relationships. So the more we know what is needed in our local communities, for example, then it means that we are more aware of how to act to make a difference, if it makes sense. So one of the things which Dare to Care campaign has at its heart is to kind of think globally but act locally, and I think that is really, really important as well. So doing some sort of research is important. Trying to find out what is already happening is also very important. Trying to understand what we want to achieve, okay, is also very important. There are certain subjects which are really close to my heart. For example, the whole stuff around ethnicity. I come from Poland. I live in other countries, so I've supported, they are called in Britain BME network, Black and Minority Ethnic Networks, which meant that I was able also to empower other people as well. So again, this is something which I haven't probably mentioned in my presentation as well. And this is two things I just want to say. Number one is participation, and civic participation, or any participation, is absolutely essential to any of my actions. Really trying to be part of the process, being part of the process is essential to my being, if you like. But equally, empowerment, trying to, again, empower others to make a difference. So it's not me on my own, but again, trying to support other people who might have different dreams and aspirations, but who also want to make a difference in their own, ways, if you like. Nice, short and sweet, Hannah. Hope it makes sense.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else who is shy and wants to ask something or share something?
I just wanted to ask one thing from Tibor, because I always find very, very fascinating when I see and contemplate the engagement of these principles of this Christian, or more closely Catholic principles, with a global view of management and leadership. And I also was very fascinated by the book of the heroic leadership. But my question is that is that any, how do you see in the practical life, is there any chance that this view is going beyond the circle of some Catholics who became managers? So how does it enter in the general view of thinking about management and leadership, or it will always stay among good people who became managers? That's my question. So I don't know if I explain myself or.
Yes, I understand you, Laszlo, and it's a very justified question, because if it's so nice and so simple, why don't we see it every day and everywhere? First of all, I think, and as I mentioned, there was a kind of a different view on professionality in the field of economics and management earlier, that we only have to speak about numbers and Excel sheets and profit and using such kind of words, and gradually such new terms like trust, like servant leadership, like spirituality, and so on, gradually showed up and are now part of our vocabulary. As for the implementation, I mean, it's much easier to speak about such things than to read nice books. And most of the quotations I use here, except for Chris Lowney, were written by those who are professors at universities and never run a company and never had to sell something and never were obliged to make a profit. So it's much easier to write about it than to practice. And that's why your question, Laszlo, is very justified. But the new term servant leadership, which is again that instead of I'm the big boss, I rule, and your task is to follow the instructions, this changed to, and at least there is a school of so-called servant leadership, where the leader is more a coach, more a motivation, a source of the motivation. And this kind of approach is already based on human dignity, on respect for the others, together with empowerment, which Michael mentioned, together with the team spirit of community building. On the other hand, there is a high risk for those who want to do it. If you follow the mainstream and the old system, you are on the safe side. First of all, you follow the mainstream, so the majority. And secondly, you don't face this kind of risk. What happens if there is a too high level of participation? What if somebody misuses this situation? If I spend time on caring, don't I take away time from the real work to generate revenue and profit? And therefore, those who are not committed to have an integrity and to follow their values, they say, okay, during the day I follow the mainstream, and otherwise I'm a nice guy and I try to do this kind of leadership maybe in a non-profit organization or in a charity form, but not as the leading business leader of whether it's my company or another company, but as a leader. I think and I hope that such events and such books and such questions and people like we here together can prove that this is not an utopia, and this is not something which some people speak in the academic field about, but it's something which can be leveraged, managed, implemented, whether it's a company, whether it's a non-profit organization or a community, a city community, or big politics, or the whole society. And I think that's my hope and our hope, and I can see a lot of people who would like to see it happen and do what they can to make it real.
So it's also a kind of risk management in somehow, because you take a risk when you
exactly
when you do it this way.
Yeah, it's riskful. And it's interesting that those people who take risk as a company leader or owner in the business field, they're afraid very often to take risk just to use a different method. Although the new, for example, the young generation startups with their teal system and holacratic and flat organization already started to follow the same principles. So it's not that there is no one big boss who knows everything and the rest are just to follow the orders.
Can I just interrupt you for a second? Michael, Michal, are you trying to say goodbye to us maybe?
I was, yes, but I want to. I'm well behaved. So I'm not trying to interrupt anyone.
Unlike me.
I just want to say a big thank you to each one of you for our meeting tonight. Huge thank you to Hannah for being such a skilled moderator. Palko sitting quietly, being the brain behind this event as well. Well done, everyone. It's really good to see some of you. Some of you I haven't seen in ages. So yeah, let's keep caring and really using every opportunity to make a difference. So yeah, keep up the good work, everyone. I have to go have another meeting in 7 minutes.
Thank you, Michal. Goodbye. But would you like to finish your sentence now?
I think I told my answer, so it was enough. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions?
Yes, I would like to ask, first of all, Chiara, but all participants, our speakers and participants. We are now a network of Eastern European countries, young people, and we want to empower ourselves with knowledge, courage, and strategies of action and so on. My impression is, now we are very different. There are different regions, regional orthodoxy, Balkans, Middle Europa, and so on. The Balkan states are historically and culturally different, but we are around 50 years of communist rule.
Palko, we lost you there for a second. There was something with your connection, so we lost a part of your last sentence.
Yes.
If you can repeat it. Now we can hear you normally.
Yeah, okay. Now, that we are a network of East European countries, young people, and we want to empower ourselves, knowledge, courage, and so my impression is that care is not
I'm afraid when you get to the point, that's when the that's when the issues happen. If you type it in the comments, I can read it out. And in the meantime, I also
try to shorten my questions to one sentence. What do you mean on what should we do in the East European countries? Do you hear me? No? To have more present the concept of care.
So I think the question is, what can we do to make the concept of care more present in the public life.
Okay, that's it.
Chiara, would you like to try to answer first?
Well, thank you, first of all, to all your presentation were very interesting, and thank you, Palco, for this question. Well, I think that first of all, participation as citizens, before someone was saying that participation could be a principle that translates the concept of care into everyday life. I think it was Tibor or Michael, could be a good asset to be present in public life and civic life. Then I think that Palco, you were mentioned, I think in your questions, also the idea of difference, Eastern Europe and Western Europe. I think that here the very big effort is to make dialogue a process also within a process to build policies. I don't know if we could talk about a dialoguing nation, dialoguing nations, to assure in a certain way dialogue as an instrument to build common policies between, for instance, different cultural minorities within the same nation. So participation, dialogue, empowerment. Sometimes we feel that alone we cannot make the difference, but we are in a network, as you were saying, and we have to work as a network. And also, I think that our personal experience, for instance, I became, this is very personal, I became mother 8 months ago, and my son is Pietro, 8 months old. And this made for me a difference, of course, compared to my previous life, also in the concept of caring for someone. And this caring for someone, in this case is my son, is something that I can take also in my professional life, in my social life. We are person build, well, yes, I think that passion, commitment, empowerment, and also our sources in our personal life can also be brought to our civic and public life.
Thank you.
I have to say congratulations here too.
Thank you.
To the new one. I think we might have a question from Marinella Martitic, who is my mother, by the way.
I want just first to thank to all of the participants, especially to Tibor. It was very nice and deep and inspiring, and give hope for good changes, what you do and what you are told to us. And I have a question for Tina. Do you think that you can wake or encourage your students to feel the people of other religion, immigrants, and so because it is time when it seems so difficult to accept difference. I also work with young people, and I think that they are now more not so flexible like we were in their age. How do you think you can make the difference, especially in your school, because it is, I'm sorry for my language.
No, no,
I
I got it.
you can understand. Okay.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, sometimes I feel really this great responsibility when they're just sitting there with their mouth a little bit opened, and you know how you have this major influence on them, right? And it was a shock for me when I read what happened in Paris a week ago with this teacher of geography, how he was telling about Charlie Hebdo, because it was déjà vu for me, because I was telling them the same thing, my students, 2 weeks ago. And it was like, I felt how our role is really, really, we have a great responsibility of creating these new generations, right? My experience is that whenever I talk about something personal, for instance, when talking about migrants, I gave them my experience because I was working in, in 2015, there was this great migration wave going through Western Balkan, right? I worked on field for a couple of days with migrants. And whenever I share my personal experience with them, they buy it immediately. They see immediately whether you are honest or not. And when talking about that, I really try to encourage them to be critical and not to believe everything they hear in a way. Always try to find different sources, and then to find people who they trust, and from them they can build their opinion about things. But really, what striking them the most, what convinced them the most, I don't try to convince them, because that's not the right word. I just wanted to share my experience, and in my opinion, that influences them the most, sharing my personal experience.
We are slowly coming to the end of this webinar, and I just wanted to use Chiara's prompt to continue this network and use it as a network, to bring to your attention that we are also trying to go more in depth with these topics of care and get more personally involved and more different perspectives in our workshops that we will be doing. And if you go to the link that I will send you, it's there to care.blog.aju. You can enroll for these workshops, and there we will be having more discussions on topics like politics of care and the concept of care and so on. So I invite you to go and to register for them. The registrations are still open, and I'm sure we can get more in depth in that type of a setting. So we have a few more minutes, so we can take a few more questions. I wanted to ask Chiara also, would you like to attempt to answer your questions that you asked by the end of your presentation?
Sorry, I couldn't hear.
I asked if you would like to attempt to answer the questions in your presentation. You had a few questions that seemed like you have thought of them and could talk about them a bit more.
Yeah. Well, I was finishing my presentation asking if we should reconsider whether the concept of solidarity, the concept of care, could go beyond the dimension of the state, the dimension of the nation. And I was thinking in particular about non-citizens. So how do citizens care towards non-citizens, and also concerning future generation. For instance, the protection of environment, the climate change. Should we care as citizens for future generation in the context, for instance, of the protection of environment? I think yes, of course, that the concept of care, also from a legal perspective, also yes, from a juridical perspective, as principle of solidarity, should go beyond the limits of the nation, of the state, because especially in matters such as environment, but not only environment, citizenship, we should also reconsider the idea of citizenship within our nation, because we are becoming multicultural nations. So yes, this is my consideration.
Thank you. Do we have any last minute questions? I think we had a really great discussion, and I think we had really interesting lectures. So thank you everybody for coming, and I hope to see you on the workshops again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you very
Bye,
much.
everyone.
Ciao, ciao.
Good night.
Ciao.
No, visti prima me l'ha aperto.